What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Geek Boutique podcast. That's right. You're not imagining things. We have a full house today and somebody that looks like he's in shock. He's just...
He's here for a great time.
He's here for a great time.
I'm leaving. I'm all done now. Hold on. We're just gonna do this that way. That's way better.
My co-host, Mr. Aka, Messiah Complex Cosplay. I haven't screwed that up in a long time. Jeff, what's going on?
Apparently, I'm to be heard and not seen this evening. So I'm guessing my internet is dog shit. We all know I've had struggles over the years with internet. I'm really hoping it doesn't. This is not a sign that I'm going to lose it. But if it is, I love you all. I'm so happy to have everybody on today. We've never had 6 people on before, and I'm really excited to talk to 4/5 of these people for sure. But of the ones that I am not as such. Guys, joining us once again is our good friend, fellow podcaster, Mr. Myers Corp Cosplay, Mike, or Michael. Apparently he has no preference, which is a bald-faced lie. Mike, how are you doing today, my friend?
I am doing pretty darn good after a long weekend at Niagara Falls Comic Con, and I am so happy to be back.
It's going to be one of those episodes, isn't it?
Yep.
It like every other one, for sure. Also joining us today, believe it or not, is the gentleman that was behind the bomb relay. All his idea, all his stuff. You can see the bomb in the background. He's been on the podcast before. He is a gentleman. He is a scholar. He is a human Labrador Retriever. Guys, give it up for Andrew, Ill-Gotten House Cosplay.
Hey, how you doing, everybody? Great to have you all listening in or watching, hopefully. And if you want me to plug it for you, be sure to hit that like button and, subscribe.
There you go. Andrew
this guy's been here before.
Andrew knows the score.
Yeah, absolutely. Representing the vendors that were helping out and with the cosplay contest, too, donating some wonderful gifts. We also have, for the first time ever on the podcast, Lindy Cosplay Supply. Linda, all the way from beautiful Chatham, Ontario. How are things in lovely, sunny Chatham today?
Well, it's about to have a really serious storm here, but that's okay. Just come and storm. Yeah. Well, I'm really glad to be here. I was excited that you invited me. That I'm really flattered.
Yay!
It sounds like a fun bunch. So I'm looking forward to this.
It'll be something. Let me tell you.
It'll be something. That's for sure.
Yes.
Whether it's fun, who knows? But thanks for coming, Linda. I mean, I think it's well overdue. I feel like. I was saying this earlier, everybody in the cosplay community, or at least the people that actually follow us here on the podcast, I feel like they already know who you are. So, thanks for coming along. It's awesome to have you.
And speaking of overdue, long-time lurker and shit talker in the comments.
Talker in the comments.
First time on the pod. Guys, give it up for cosplayer extraordinaire and one of the cosplay judges and hosts of the cosplay contest at Niagara Falls Comic Con this past weekend, pretty nerdy Crystal. Hi, Crystal. How are you finally on the pod after all this time?
I managed to get my monster to bed on time.
Crystal's a mom with a young boy who apparently is a bit of a handful. And his bedtime is right about now. So we're lucky to have her on at all as far as that goes. And we're all here this week, provided my internet stays, because apparently I can't even get any video out of it, to talk about our collective experiences at Niagara Falls Comic Con just this past weekend. I know, JS, you kind of had an itinerary. I'm going to turn things over to you. Why don't you guide us through the process here of who we're going to talk to and what we're going to talk about?
Yeah, well, first of all, Jeff, what were your thoughts? You tell me, what did you think? I mean, you were there all weekend. I was only there on the Saturday. I can give you my thoughts of the con after, but it was my first time, by the way, folks, at Niagara Comic Con, Niagara Falls Comic Con.
Right.
Just like Anime North. I did Anime North for the first time this year. I did Niagara Falls Comic Con for the first time this year. So what were your thoughts?
It pretty much like every other Niagara Falls Comic Con. So this is my, I don't know, I mean, a blip notwithstanding, I've been going for years now, and it's a bit of a dichotomy for me because it's a really good time because one, you're in Niagara Falls, so there's so much to do, there's so much to see already. It's already a very touristy town. Two, all of our friends come out to it. It's almost like a fan expo or a Toronto Comic Con. You get to see everybody, all the familiar faces kind of come out for it. And three, and this is more maybe towards JS, myself, and some select others, but it's licensed. The whole venue is licensed, so you can just buy a beer and just walk around with it, or buy a drink and just walk around with it. So if you're someone that likes to have a few libations during the course of something like a Comic Con, it's really fun to do that too. The lineups were again atrocious, unfortunately, but that's to be expected every single year. The parking was also atrocious, which we had our good friend editor Megan parked across the street on Saturday. They charged her $55 for a parking space.
Oh my god! Wow.
Yeah, and then just overall, I'm glad they had the contest this year for 2 days in a row. But overall, how the con has always kind of been around with cosplay and community booths and that kind of thing has never been fantastic. It looks like they're finally trying to improve a little bit, but still kind of at a point where it's not. I don't think it's quite where it needs to be yet. So. But yeah, everything else, I had a great time. I seem to always have a great time when I go to Niagara Falls. And thankfully, Lindy had her booth right out in the main concourse there, and she let me just schleb around it all weekend. So that made it real easy for me to have a nice little home base. And it really helped with the 8,000 people that asked me why the Geeks & Co. didn't have a booth at Niagara Falls Comic Con this year.
Yeah, and I want to, before we actually get to Linda, I want to, when we go to these cons, we usually have a booth. And we have a home base, and we have a spot to stash our camera gear and our lunches and our stuff. And we have a spot to meet up with people. And Lindy, we Cosplay Supplies. I mean, that was that for us this weekend, right? Like, you gave us an opportunity to have a spot to actually leave our stuff so we can actually go see the con. I haven't walked a con floor in like 4 years. This was the first con floor that I actually walked out of costume in probably 4 years. So Linda, again, thank you so much. Like, you didn't have to let us put our stuff at your booth. You didn't have to, you could have just kicked us all out. We caused a pandemonium at one point. There was a massive crowd of people there, and and you never said a single word. So thank you so much. That was super awesome.
I'm glad to have you there. I mean, and that's probably one of the benefits for me, is that so many of the cosplayers come to see me, say hi, give me a hug, all that. That's part of why I like going. Besides the fact that my son comes with me, which gives me time with him, and I couldn't do it without him. That's a fact. I mean, I've been creating since 1969, so my energy starts to dwindle a little bit after half a day's gone by. So if he wasn't there, that would be, but I love the company. I love seeing all the cosplayers come through. I mean, I'm sort of living through them now because I have a hard time dressing myself now and working. So, I'm really glad. But no, I like the company. As long as I can walk back and forth, I'm good. Sometimes it gets a little overwhelming that all of a sudden there's no chair for me.
Yeah. Hey, that's when you kick somebody out, right? Like, we're literally invading your booth. You know what I mean? So if you need a seat, it's like, hey, get your ass out of my chair, right? Don't be afraid to kick us out. For the people, I'd be surprised too. I can't believe there's anybody that's in the chat or listening to this right now that don't already know what Lindy Cosplay Supply is. But why don't you take a couple of minutes to actually tell us, what is Lindy Cosplay Supplies? What do you do? How do they get in touch with you? How do they buy your products, et cetera, et cetera? Give us your elevator, your 3 or 4 minute elevator pitch.
Okay, well, I've been creating pretty much my whole life, but got a little more serious about around 69. And then slowly, as I was doing all the local things, participating from theater to whatever, hairdressing, special effects, makeup. I've done that for some of my suppliers. I've had a connection in almost every area in one way or another. My mother said, you need to do something with that because I seem to be doing so many things. So I finally opened a costume shop. Well, then I started putting everything I knew how to do to use, from doing wigs because of the hairdressing, doing special effects on people because of the makeup I was doing for companies. And then I've always been a seamstress, so I started making costumes. Then I, of course, being a Disney person, I started going to Disney almost every year. And of course, I was fascinated by the mascots and such. And again, it's so stimulating. You're around something where you're seeing all this in front of you. So then I started making mascots. I mean, I literally just cut out brown paper bag and taped it together until it would stand on its own on a table. I said, oh, it's balanced. Because I'm pretty much self-taught, you know, in all these areas. But I'm so fortunate that for some reason it's all just worked out. And then I started putting the costumes to use. I started doing telegrams. Then I started performing as a clown. I became a professional clown. I don't know if you heard about the story.
I did not know this.
My magician. Yeah, and I put together little variety shows, adapted plays and such, so that I could do little shows for companies and such. Well, I had one of them. I hired a magician. His mother called. He's in jail. Okay, well, what do I do now? All right. Oh, I can find a place in Toronto. I'll go buy some magic. You know, I'm on my way there. The car bursts into flame, and I look at the clock, and I said, oh, I can catch a bus. So I went on down to Toronto anyway and bought some magic, came back home, performed the magic myself and things like that. So I've had a lot of crazy experiences, but that's definitely one of them. But I mean, there's so much to that tells you, you know, like, don't let things get in your way. You want to do something. It's possible to get it done no matter what. You know, how crazy it is. It just doesn't matter. You just go for it, right? And geez, so I've been building mascots ever since I opened the shop as well. And I've shared in some wonderful things, but just putting everything I know, which isn't everything, of course.
Do you still build costumes, or do you mostly sell supplies now?
No, I still have the costume shop. That's less important to me now. The traveling and sharing what I know with the young ones is my favorite thing to do. But yes, I do the mascots. I did the Ninja Turtles when the first movie came out. I did a Freddy Krueger thing for Big V when that movie came out. Then I have made, you know, authors have asked me to do characters out of their books, like just all kinds of things, you know, that way. And then I like that's all how the besides the mascot building from Disney inspired, is that I started doing the telegrams. And so whether it be Elvira as a personality or Marilyn or anything, things like that that were popular back then, I'd show up at a party with all the Ninja Turtles, you know, and of course, then I started doing voices. So then I even did Betty Boop and all types of things. You want to be loved by me and nobody else. You know, so then I had to start training my Santas to get their belly laugh, you know, and just all kinds. So it just, everything has evolved into something else, you know, so it's just amazing. And wanting to share those stories with the young ones, you know, because they need to have their encouraged, their confidence boosted. And that's what I want to do. I want to show them you can start with nothing. If all you got's a garbage bag, you'd be surprised what you can make with that.
Oh, 100%. 100%. But you don't sell garbage bags. You sell proper cosplay supplies. You actually are one of the only suppliers of barge contact cement other than leather workers that I know of. How did that get started? How did you get into selling supplies at conventions?
Well, then my son said to me, we've got to start going to conventions and teaching what I know. I said, okay. So I contacted Evil Ted, and this was about 10 years ago now. And then I also sent a message to Svetlana, or Kamui, I think you say her name. And they both said the same thing, you know, what type of foam to carry and the barge they recommended, that kind of thing. So then I'm on the search, right? I had to find, who can I find in Canada that I can get this done? It's so hard to find supplies, you know, touching base and will they sell to you? So, but finally I did find someone who was fairly reasonable, so I can offer at a decent price. Same with the foam. Of course, some of it's left Canada as well at this point again. But
Mhm.
the barge I'm solid on, and the foam I'm solid on. There's a couple things I can't get yet, but I'm in negotiation. So I'll keep trying to bring it to everybody, you
Uh,
know. And
did you
but
get
they would
any foam clay? I
are
thought you had some foam clay also at one point.
I did, but that's one of the things I can't get solid yet. I'm still
Mm,
negotiating with the company about it. Um, because the biggest manufacturer of all of that stuff is Lumens, and they're in Australia.
ah,
So if I can get it closer, I certainly will try.
yeah, no, 100%.
But I do
Uh,
love this stuff. Hope to get it closer.
now, was this your first time at Niagara Falls Comic Con this year?
No, I've been there about 8 times
Oh, wow. Okay. So, and you
before.
8 times with a booth.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I had took a while to negotiate that.
yeah.
This was actually the first year that I didn't have to pay, even though I was a sponsor.
Well, that's good.
I
How,
know.
how did it go for you? How was the weekend? Like, as far as a vendor goes, I get now you've spilled the beans. You didn't have to pay to be there, but was it still worth being there in terms of, sell and marketing and
Well, I did get stronger, as you've often said as well in passing, because I felt that I was contributing quite a bit, and the panel and everything else I was doing, I thought that I probably should getting some kind of a comp situation. So I did get a little stronger about mentioning that. And I think I don't ask too much, but what I think is
Mhm.
fair. So I didn't have to pay for the booth this year. I love the location. I didn't know what to expect with being in the hall, but actually I think it worked for me. The
It really did.
line,
The
people
traffic there
coming
was
in.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. No, so I was happy with that, and so many things about the con this year did make me happy. Uh, I mean, just the people coming in, the costumes I'd never seen before. I saw a lot of amazing things that I really just hadn't seen before. I was so impressed, with the costumes entered in the contest. Right from the simple ones to the more elaborate. I really love being on stage to see them come by, because I don't get a chance in the
Mhm.
registration time. I'm busy at the booth. So yeah, no, I thought they were amazing. And I love to talk to the young ones and look close, at what they've done, because that just makes me happy. What can I say? But oh, thanks, Natasha. I appreciate that. I just saw that little note there. But no, weren't you also?
Oh, I think we're losing Lindy slightly here, or Linda, I should say. And listen,
Can you hear me?
no, I think we've lost. We can kind of hear you, but I think we've lost Linda. Linda, stick with us. If we can see you unfrozen, we'll try to, oh, I think you're back now. Can you wave at us? No, I think
Right.
you're frozen. Listen, Linda did sponsor the costume contest. There you go. It looks like she's back now. There you go. Linda, can you hear me? I can't hear you.
Yes.
Oh, there you are. Excellent. Linda, so you sponsored the cosplay contest this year. From my understanding, this was the
Yes.
first
Yes.
official.
And I.
Mm,
No, I always sponsored the contest. Can you hear me okay?
we can hear you now. Unfortunately, it's very choppy. So sometimes we can hear you, sometimes we can't.
Okay, sorry. Yes, I've been sponsoring since I started 8 years ago. Yeah.
So they have had so this was not the first
Did you hear
cosplay
that?
contest. Yeah, so they've been doing this for at least 8 years. You're saying I wasn't aware of that. I would always assume there was no cosplay contest at this con. Now Crystal was saying maybe it's just because they don't advertise it, but it's been going on for 8 years.
Yes, and they need to be better. Yes.
Yeah, 100%. You also
This
sponsored.
is the first Go ahead.
Sorry, no, go ahead. You're saying this is the first
Oh.
time?
This is the first time they had it 2 days.
Mm.
I wasn't sure about how I only found out a few days before. And I thought, oh gosh, I gotta be in the loop. So I had to readjust the prices so that everybody could get something. I wouldn't feel comfortable people for one day getting it and the other day not getting something. So I took them apart and set them again. Yeah, but I think it worked out because I gave them all something I hope they really like: contact lenses, wigs, all kinds of things. But yeah.
I know somebody who's
But we
hiding
just have
behind
to
his
get
screen. He's
details.
going to need some contact lenses very, very soon for a new cosplay he's working on. That, you know,
Well, he knows where to get me. Because I am located in Chatham, of course, and I do the cons between Windsor and Niagara Falls. I'll be doing Kitchener this year. On Sunday, we'll be at the Forest City.
Forest City, yeah.
And of course, yeah, my son will be there helping me. He helps with repairs and all of that. As I said, I couldn't do it without him. And yeah, then I'm at not again. I'm going to do workshops. Many people were asking about the kits because I did write some workshop books, and I put together kits with all the supplies. So I decided to do workshops. I'm going to probably one here in my studio in Chatham, and over the summer I'll also perhaps be at the LA Mood in London. They're kind enough to invite me there, which they're lovely people to work with, and so yes, so I'll definitely set a date to do something there as well.
Now, Linda, other than conventions, are we able to order from you online? If people want to order supplies, do you have a website that they can go to? Do you ship out, or is it only in person at cons?
Yeah, I don't have a website, but my son is encouraging me to do that. If you go to my Facebook page, Lindy Cosplay Supplies, you can go into my albums and everything is there. And so you can just get a hold of me through Messenger or something, or through Instagram, and order right there. If I can get it out to you the next day, it's out. So I ship it to you. Absolutely.
Excellent.
Or I can bring it to the office. Yeah, I don't like keeping people waiting. They can count on me.
Yeah, guys, if you need any kind of supply, make sure you check out Linda's webpage or Facebook page. There's a lot of stuff that you don't see readily available that you're gonna find from Linda. So go check it out.
Thank you so much.
Hey, you're very welcome. Crystal, so you were an actual judge at this year's cosplay competition, which apparently was not the first year. Which I was, very well misled on that. First of all, how did you even get involved in this competition? Is this your first time judging?
Yeah, well, technically, like there was that little fan con in Fort Erie back in April.
Oh, there was. I remember you talking about that. That's right.
It was just like kids and stuff, so it was just like a simple like thing. So
trust me, she's
cute.
always judging. You always
only you. But I was working on Monday and my phone lit up and it was a message and they invited me to come do it with them. And I had to check in with the husband and my best friend because me and her were supposed to just go to Saturday for a couple hours and then ditch. So I had to check in with them first and they were fine with it. So I said, yeah, sure.
So how did it go? Now, it was a 2-day thing? How did that work?
Yeah, it was 2 days. The first one was in the later... No, they were both near the end of the day, both of them. We had to like prejudge for like 2 hours prior. Saturday, we ran into like the actual time of like the parade part of it. And then the Sunday, we were done a bit early before it. Not as many people signed up on Sunday.
Yeah, I would assume Saturday's probably the bigger day. How was it costume-wise this year compared to other years? Was it?
Well, the girl that won... I can't remember which reward she won, but she was only 18 years old and had been doing it since she was like 14 or something. And like, it was insane what she did. Like, even I'm like, oh, I should probably like finish my seams. Like, she blew my mind for only being 18, like lights all through her little cape and everything. It was insane.
What was she doing?
It was something from like anime. I'm not sure what it was.
Yeah, yes.
It was so amazing though. She like made the ears and everything. It was really good. So
Were there a lot of anime based inspired cosplay this year? Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it's kind of the popular thing at cosplay contests, well, at cons period these days. Anime is so strong that a lot of the cosplay is anime based for sure.
Yeah, there's so many that you can make anything for it.
I'm assuming you had a good time judging this, was it
was
not a good? It was a lot of fun. So this is not going to be your last time judging a cosplay contest.
I hope not. Like one judge, I've known him for like 14 years, so. They were surprised I even knew him. They're like, you know her? And he was like, yeah. So it was kind of nice to hang out with everyone.
So what were kind of the things that you were looking for when all these people are coming up at you with all these crazy cosplays? What are the things that, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people have different criterias, but what were the things you were looking for that you wanted to see or maybe not see?
I really like crazy things. That like blow my mind, like a mixture of all different things put together, but also like finished and pressed seams. Even though I don't do that myself because I'm lazy. But I really like when it's clean looking.
Yeah, so I sometimes, not sometimes, I often say, I feel like the little details are usually what sells the illusion, right? When you're making costumes, it's oftentimes not the big pieces, but the little details within those big pieces, the little things that you add here and there that completely sell the illusion, right? So I get that. How many people are we talking here that entered this costume? I mean, on Saturday you're saying it was more people than on Sunday. Are we talking like a couple hundred people or no?
No, we only had like one master on Saturday, one journeyman on Sunday, like
really?
3 journeymen on the Saturday that we moved up to master.
And
tons of novices, tons of novices, probably like 15.
Yeah. But even then, 15, like with the amount of cosplay that I saw there this weekend, you would think that, I don't know, you think that there would have been more people at the cosplay competition. Again, is it a question of they're not advertising this friggin' competition? Nobody knows that it's happening or that it exists.
Well, you have to be joined to Cosplay for a Cause, like Facebook, to even like know that it's happening.
The key. That's the key.
They're the one that are hosting it, Cosplay for a Cause on
and they do a wonderful job, but there's no reason the con itself shouldn't, like, that's fewer entries than we had in the contest at CK Expo. Yeah, which has a 20th of the people, or like maybe even like less than, like, it's so much. It's like 2,000 people came to that con, and probably 40,000 people came to that con, and we probably had more in the novice category than they had in the novice category, even though 15 seems like a lot. So kind of where my point earlier, it's nothing on Cosplay for a Cause. It's nothing the people running the contest. They're doing a brilliant job, but the con itself has to get behind cosplay, and for whatever weirdo, bizarro reason, they never have, and I don't know what it's going to take to get them more involved, to be honest with you, other than a bigger public outcry from patrons saying, guys, so many people come to this con in cosplay, and you guys are essentially ignoring them. Like, make it part of the con. Jeff doing his impression of The Rock. I don't know. Am I? Is that what I'm doing right now? Just the voice from the blackness right now is all I am. Just out of the darkness. Sorry, Chris. I didn't mean to cut you off. It's just when I'm hearing those numbers, and I'm like, Jesus, we literally had more on CK Expo, and it's like
it was enough that like we ran over time too. Like, we were all discussing like who gets what and who should win what and all that stuff. So we did run over the 2 hours. So we needed more time, I think, personally, to judge a little bit, just because it was such a quick thing, even though it felt long, but it also felt short all at the same time judging. So
looks like we lost Linda.
We lost her.
So that I guess I guess that's the feedback, right, guys? If you want to know more about what's going on at Niagara Falls Comic Con, make your voices heard. Let them know, right? Tell them, hey, why aren't you guys advertising these things? Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't
Hey, why don't the Geeks and Co have a booth? And
Yeah, and that's another good point, right? And we're gonna take maybe a quick break here to talk about that for a quick second because I want to move on to our event after this, but I've heard a lot too on the Saturday. I was only there on the Saturday, and I probably got it from at least 20 or 30 people. Why don't you guys have a booth? What's going on? Why didn't you have a booth here? Where's your booth? Like, I don't like.
Do you know
I don't
what
know
was even
to tell
sadder about that? Do you know how many people came up to me and was just like, "So where is it?" Like they just assumed that
Yeah,
we were going to
I had
ask
that.
why we didn't. They were just like, "Yeah, so where's the booth?" And I'm like, we don't have one this year."
Yeah,
and then their
I
face would be like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah, let them know." So for those of you that Jess is talking about, I just got it in my email. I think if you bought tickets online, you got a survey.
I haven't gotten it yet.
I know you haven't got one yet, but I just got mine. And yeah, I mean, I would obviously recommend everybody to fill that out, not to be, tooting our own horn or not any kind of an act of hubris or whatever. But so everybody that came up to me and said, "Hey, where's your booth? Or why don't you have one?" If you get that feedback form, just chuck it in there. It doesn't have to be 18 paragraphs long. Just be like, "Hey, we'd love to see the Geeks and Co next year."
Yeah, and not just that, right? Like I said, like the things like for the cosplay contest, like I had no idea. I assumed there was no cosplay contest there because they never really have any focus on, the cosplay side of things. So, I think that there's some work to do there, and hopefully they do.
Well, Crystal, as someone that was involved, like, what's your wish list? Like, what would be your wish list to the con itself to better? I don't know if it's better advertisements. I don't know if the con being more heavily involved in
Lacey,
where they're going to put it or whatever. Yeah,
mine's
paragraph and a half long. So, Crystal, having someone that's involved in it, what's your opinion? What would make it better as far as?
They just need to advertise it more, advertise what the Cosplay for a Cause is doing.
Yeah.
And, just really put it out there, not like a week ahead of the time.
Because it doesn't sound like they have a whole lot in the way of involvement. It's basically like they just handed it to Cosplay for a Cause and expected them to do everything, advertise it, run it, the whole. So did the trophy come from Niagara Falls at least, or was that something that you guys did? Okay, so they did at least donate the trophy. Okay.
Yeah, they donated those big trophies.
Okay. Well,
so to jump in there a little, I was checking out the website kind of in the weeks leading up, just to peruse for the contest or the prop rules or whatever, just because you get those slight differences. And they had a very boilerplate answer of very basics, but check again later for more information. So
and later never came.
Yeah, basically. So maybe in the last week they may have thrown up something a little more about be here for these judging times or whatnot, but it was a very short term they had that available.
Yeah.
I don't like to be too negative because I'm a very positive minded person, but yes, they really do need to improve that. As a sponsor, I'm not happy with them. Yeah, I don't know why they take so long.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're spending your money, right, to sponsor this and to get people involved, and then they can't even be bothered to put it on their website. Like that seems odd to me, right? Like, yeah.
And I think it needs a culture change at that con as well. And Mike, you can probably speak to this a little bit because you've been involved with the con for even longer than I have been going to the con. Is that the culture in the con? I think everybody's so used to cosplay just being such an afterthought at the con that the con's not going to get behind it. That people don't. They're probably not even looking for a contest per se, or they're probably not even looking for bigger cosplay community booths, the type that we would run. Would you say it's a fair assessment that the culture of the con itself is maybe not lacking cosplayers, but that cosplay mentality where it's a part of the show instead of just like an add-on or an afterthought, just something that some of us do?
Yeah, I would say, I don't know if it's specific. Choose my words properly here. I don't think it's malicious. I think it might be them wanting to do something different. I feel like something like an expo, even Hamilton to a degree, is so cosplay heavy that they might feel like if they're not competing with that, then it's not worth it to them. I mean, I honestly have I have no knowledge of it. I do volunteer with them, but I just feel like it's not a priority to them. And I don't think it's malicious. I don't think they're like, we don't care about cosplay. I just don't know if that's their focus right now. I know they've been crazy when it comes to guests. So that might be their main focus right now. And they might just be thinking, well, we can also bring in some cosplayers now, because that is becoming such a big focus with the explosion of the anime boom now now it seems like every other kid has a cosplay. They're showing up. We might as well do something for them so they can do something and maybe spend some more time here instead of just like some of you may have done, show up, hang out for 5 minutes and then take off. Because you're like, well, the cosplay thing's not really a thing at this con.
Well, and like I'm saying too, and Crystal, you can probably talk to this too, but the culture, not just from the people that are running the con, but the con like even the con patrons and the con goers. I know in years past, like my opinion that they don't do much with the cosplay is not just thinking, well, the con doesn't do much. Like when I'm going to the con, even as a patron, I'm just not expecting much to be cosplay focused, just because that's just what this con's been from the jump. I think they're going to have a mountain to climb to get us to a point where we go into that con thinking it's going to be cosplay featured, like Toronto Comic Con or Fan Expo or even CK Expo or some of these other cons. Would you agree that that's sort of the overall culture at the con, that cosplay is just not really that big of a deal?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It would be nice that it would be more with us, because, we go there to spend our money, but we would also like to be seen,
Yeah. Well, it's like Jake is saying here, it's an autograph show, but if you're not going for that,
yeah. I did not get one autograph.
That's what I mean. Or you're not looking to buy a lightsaber from the 14 lightsaber booth. Then really, are you there? So our friend Noah's got a good comment here too. I had a ton of fun cosplaying this year, but I also felt the lack of cosplay centric stuff at the con, like booths or community spots. Yeah. It just seemed like there was that giant Star Wars area, and that was kind of it, with the Rancor and the Basilisk in front of it, and then the Doctor Who side each just to the side of it, and that's kind of all. And then Buffalo's Best Turtles were kind of right there too, and that seemed to be it. And then when you think of cons that size, elsewhere in the region, it's way more than that. Lindy, you got something?
I did want to suggest that they bring in a cosplay guest. I mean, it's very possible. I was talking to...
Oh, that Chatham internet again.
Oh, no.
Sorry. But I'm going to Perlas in Sweden. She looked, and she's a guest. Like, but they just don't look at it. I don't know. It's hard to say why that is. But I hope to have a stronger conversation with them about that. I really think they need. It is Niagara Comic Con.
Well, that's a very good point, right? Like it's Niagara Comic Con, right? It's not. I mean, it's not the wedding. What's that? The bridal show. It's not the boat show. It's freaking Comic Con, right? Like people are gonna dress up and come to these shows, and I feel like they're kind of missing. They're missing out. I feel like if they're not trying to cater to that crowd, because then you get people from that crowd that don't come, or that don't come dressed up. But I guarantee you, the rest of the congoers, even the normies that don't dress up, they still expect to see the cosplayers.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Whether you're going to a con that is not a cosplay centric con or not, the regular people that go there, they're expecting to see all these cosplayers, and they're getting some of it, but I feel like everybody's missing out when they don't care. And I get it. They're there to make money, right? It's like every other show. You could
look at London. Look at London Comic Con.
London,
and the
London
focus that they had with cosplay. Cosplay red carpet, and they had that cosplay walk thing on the stage, and cosplay contest, and then the community booths that they did. Like, come on, man! Like there are ways to do this right, especially of a con of that size. 100%. But you know what? When they're not doing the cosplay stuff right, and by the way, again, no slight to Cosplay for Claus or Crystal or Casey or anybody that was running from there. They did brilliantly with what they were given to work with. It just they didn't give you guys a lot to work with, unfortunately. So I felt like, I don't know, maybe we kind of had to take matters into our own hands a little bit, and that's where Andrew came in, because Andrew had this brilliant idea to.
So I want to point out, before we get into this, we've been for years saying, we need to crash Niagara Falls Comic Con.
That's true.
Like, we need to show up there with like
true.
roll up banners or whatnot and just crash the show. We've been saying this on this show for years. Andrew was like, fuck this shit.
Hold my beer. Yeah,
hold
basically,
my beer.
right?
Well,
Let's
let's make
do
this
this.
happen.
Yeah.
Let's do this. So Andrew put this whole thing together. He organized our hopefully first ever and not the last. Sometimes you can't get rid of a bomb relay race, which tell us a little bit about your thoughts. First of all, how did you even come up with this idea? Tell us a little bit about what was involved in setting this up and putting all this together, and what were your thoughts about how it went?
So basically how it started is very much like how you were talking about how you, because of your history with Niagara Falls Comic Con and how they seemingly snubbed you over the years, it's like we should go invade and everything. And it's like, well, I
always had this NWO thing in my head of crashing Niagara Falls. That's coming in with the fucking tank and the megaphones and
So I get obsessively creative sometimes, and it's like I've been researching like Japanese war banners and everything else. And so when you were talking to me at Fan Expo, it's like, you want war banners? Okay, now it's go time. So I started whipping those all up together. I had the bomb already created from before. You guys had pictures with it at your booth and stuff, just to kind of play around with it. And it was just, I had always had the idea of it's there for the fun of cosplayers to kind of run around and be goofy with. I think that a lot of maybe what our cosplay community is lacking is a little more of the spontaneity and everything. We kind of will pose with each other as like, buddy, or it's like, hey, I'm going to fight you. And, we miss out on the candid shots. And so all that kind of came together here. It's kind of like ode to Adam West. That's obviously where the bomb comes from. Just can't get rid of a bomb. Let people run around with it. So that was the genesis of it. And you saying that, like, Geeks and Co. seemed on my level with the idea that we need to do something. Something that's going to draw people in, make it an activity that people will actually enjoy and just be goofy with.
Bring the play back into cosplay.
Right, exactly. And it doesn't matter if you were trying to run fast or slow, or at least that's what we tried to let people know. It was just the fact that you were doing it and having fun and laughing with everybody else. Like, the day of it that it came, like, I'll be honest, I was completely... Thanks for the support, Jeff.
Just had to throw it in there for a second.
For those that are listening to this, that can't actually see what's going on, Jeff just popped back up, frozen again, with a big giant smile on his face. And it just cracked everybody up. Sorry, Andrew, didn't mean to cut you off there.
No worries.
It's getting a little maudlin. I had to kind of, interject with some hilarity in there. And the hilarity is my big dumb face.
So it felt like the right thing to set up, and I suck at social media. I'm not afraid to admit it. So it's, lean on the geeks a little more for that. Hey, get the word out. See if we can pull a bunch of people in. Went and found a fantastic photographer. Chrism Photo or Chris McKenzie, photography on Facebook, but she decided to come along and be our official photographer.
Have you talked to her since?
I've dropped a couple of messages to her, but still following up.
She hurt herself.
Yeah, she took an injury, and she had just moved the day before.
Yeah.
So I know that she's also busy right now, but still trying to work things out.
We were lucky enough to actually have at one point four photographers.
Yeah, we had four different photographers.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
shout out Ben Jammin was there. Kookaburra photography was there. Who? And then there was one more.
Well, we had Greg Payne come out.
Oh, Greg Payne.
So,
Sorry, yes.
yes.
And Greg Payne was
Very
out too.
frank.
Very frank picks.
Very frank picks.
So,
yeah.
yes. And then Chris as well. So I've already seen a couple of shots from a couple of the folks, and yeah, absolutely hilarious. The Master Chief run, yeah, Master Chef did very well. Good job, Ben.
Oh yeah.
I just tried to pull as many stupid, silly faces as I possibly could, and I've seen some stills of those. So you can see one of them in the thumbnail for this episode, actually. So just trying to look like Andrew was saying, like silly, like we're just silly geeks the whole time. Like that was the whole point of it, was to be as silly as we possibly could. Yeah, one person ran the fastest and he got the trophy, and congratulations to my friend Alex. Well done, good job, buddy, good job. But at the end of the day, it was just there to make it fun. And by the way, guys, he said hopefully not the last. There's no fucking way that's the last time we're doing that. I
mean, I shouldn't say too much.
And
I'm
that's
talking, I want to talk.
to spill?
Well, I'm trying to do it again, perhaps somewhere else this year.
Right. So to that point, things are tweaked and worked with. And it's as our first time outing. It was great fun, but yeah, maybe a different venue is going to do us well. You know, maybe a different setup to.
I think I want to do
how
rounds.
The races run.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I want to do rounds, right? I want to do like individual rounds. I want to do heroes versus villains round. I want us to be able to do different things and keep people around longer and so on. I feel like the one thing, and Andrew's now. Oh no, you're not frozen. Sorry. For a second.
Just very still. Yeah.
He's very still.
Yeah.
I feel like it was over so fast that anybody that couldn't make it there at 3, they didn't get to run, right? So I think we need to have different events that people can participate in and make more of a thing. But you know what? We're going to have more things coming, aren't we?
Well, for sure. And that's what I mean. So it was, as our first time out, like I said, it was stressful making sure everything was all together. We had our hiccups along the way, one of the banner polls and everything else. So we had our hiccups, but I know we're going to smooth that all out for the future times, and I think we got better times ahead. That's for sure.
If you guys are at,
go ahead. In recovery, I'm assuming she's talking about Chris. Yeah, Chris, I don't know if you're going to see this, but if you are, hopefully you're feeling better. It sucks that you freaking got hurt on Saturday, but
I'm just going to throw this out there. If you guys are familiar with the Wilrow Hood run.
No.
Anybody? No?
Wilrow
Hood was a character in The Empire Strikes Back, and he's in one scene in the background. He's in an orange jumpsuit, and he's running in the background which was at a time an ice cream machine.
Oh yes, I've heard of this.
And at Star Wars Celebration, they'll get like 200 people with this ice cream machine and this jumpsuit, and they'll run through the whole thing, and they call it the Wilrow Hood run, and they just get thousands of people. And lately they've been doing it with the prisoners from Andor. They'll have a whole bunch of people in the prison outfit from Andor. So I would like to see us do it in the con, like work with the con, like whether it be a CK Expo, and
do a bomb run.
Have a bomb run in the con itself, make it part of the con.
Listen,
that would be glorious.
Do that,
similar
that would
to.
Be
so I'm actually
awesome.
speaking with a con right now that we will likely be attending, and they're asking me how they can make cosplay better this year with us involved. So maybe stay tuned, you guys, after this is over. I don't want to spill too many beans because it's still in its infant stages, but maybe we can set it up so it's a part of the actual con itself. So
yeah, and if it's the con, I think you're talking about. I think we're all going to be there anyway.
That's what I'm saying. I think we could probably make this work. So I don't see any reason why we couldn't. We have a bit of an inside track at that one. So stay tuned if you're not going to be at that con, which I will not name right now.
Yeah. Andrew, if there is one thing you would change or add or like, what would be that next thing that you would want to see us do with Bomb Run?
Topless?
You know what? I'm I'm a bit into that euphoric state that we kind of had it all come together, and I'm still riding.
I'm with you,
wave.
Jeff, but come on.
As for I'd love more people turning out and stuff. And I know that will come with a little more of the promotion of it, and I'm not going to take down Niagara Falls Comic Con for their lack of advertising when, hey, I'm responsible for the same. So yeah, I'll grab that banner and charge through the halls for a bit beforehand next time. So
that's not a bad idea, actually.
Yeah,
not a bad idea at all. I think
and events like this, you have to build momentum anyways. Like everybody that showed up for the first one will now tell people next year, hey, they're doing this thing again. You guys got to come out. That's how these work.
Right.
The first one's always going to be small, right? And then everybody had a great time, so now they'll tell their friends, and next year it'll be even bigger, right?
And well, and see that's what I mean. So I think the bomb run is a hit, but hey, there's 1,000 other ideas we could also come up with. So
it's true.
It's I certainly enjoyed my time working with you guys on this, and I'm really looking forward to doing more.
Hey, let's be honest. You did most of it, bud. I mean, first of all, you built these fucking sick ass Nobori style battle flags. And we get another one, by the way, guys. I'm just saying there is a third one that we haven't printed anything on yet. Just, we will have a third one coming. So we have 3 kick-ass flags.
You can tell JS is excited.
Oh yeah, that was amazing.
When it comes to making shit, he's all.
Oh yeah, no, that was cool. I mean, all I can see us is doing like a procession down a con floor, dragging people down to where we're going to do a meetup or something like that with the flags, right? Like that's to me those flags are genius.
And just to add, manning Jeff with the bullhorn, I still stand behind that decision.
Hey, listen,
Thanks,
I mean,
Thanks.
he called you an idiot for giving him the bullhorn.
I gratefully accept that title.
I mean, I thank you. I'll say it.
Absolutely.
You're not a complete idiot if you ask me, because
Robin at the Cosplay for a Cause booth pretty much nailed it. She's like, it's like giving a 2-year-old a whistle. Like, yep, that is correct.
Exactly.
That's exactly right.
Hey, by the way, we've got It's an Onion Bob in the chat. I got to see Bob quickly on the weekend. Unfortunately, I didn't recognize, even though he told me, oh yeah, it's Bob. But if you don't tell me it's an onion, I didn't realize it was Bob until he was gone.
Bob.
So nice to see you, Bob. We got to see Noah as well. Noah came out as well with his
Green Goblin.
His Green Goblin, who's saying, I won't be able to do any running with my newest cosplay. I'll lumber through, though. I mean, I think the problem won't be as much running as how are you going to hold the bomb? Like, that's my question. You won't be able to hold the bomb over your head. That's for sure. I'm not going to spoil any beans. Go check out Noah's Instagram if you want to know what his new cosplay is. We have one more person here. I think it's like his 14th time on the show now.
It's too much. It's too much.
Mr. Myers Corp cosplay. Mike, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. It seems like when I come on the show, the ratings go up, so I understand why.
Hey, there you go. That works for me. You were volunteering. Actually, you volunteer at a lot of shows.
I do. I volunteer. Well, traditionally, Niagara Falls and Hamilton are the 2 big ones that I volunteer at.
Fair enough. But well, you used to do other shows as well in the past, though. I know you've cut back at one point, but
yeah,
you used to do a lot more of them. This is kind of the one that you don't miss every year. That you're volunteering there, like I think for how long now?
This is year 7, year 8.
7 or 8. I mean, holy cow! So, how was it from the volunteer side of things? First of all, you were in the celebrity area.
Yep.
I think that's mainly what you've been doing for the last while is working the celebrity lines. I'm assuming you still get to see the rest of the con, right? Like you're not. Yeah. I mean, you tell me. Like, how what does the con look like from your point of view?
So yeah, from my point of view, I'm in the celebrity area. I've pretty much been in there since I started. My role has sort of grown over the years because I'm becoming one of the last few that have been doing it for a long time. Most of the volunteers on my side have advanced to the other side of the table to actually work with the celebrities. So there's only about 3 or 4 of us that have been doing it as long as I have on my side. So I'm not leading the group, but I'm kind of, if someone needs help, I've done it enough that they know, go to Mike. Typical day, I'm usually on the floor all day, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If it gets slow enough and there's enough people around that know it can be backups for anything, I do check out the floor. This is probably the con where I checked it out the most. Friday was pretty slow when it came to the celebrity area. Saturday,
really?
Yeah, Friday was a little slow.
Were there less celebrities on Friday?
Or? Yeah. A lot of them were Saturday, Sundays. So it was slow on Friday. So I was able to check out the floor and at least get a rundown of the place, which helps for my role because because specifically this year, for those who haven't been to Niagara Falls in a while or haven't been at all, traditionally most cons have a vendor area and then they have maybe a line of celebrities somewhere in the con. Niagara Falls is traditionally at the back. This year's the first year where they had their own room off to the side. So it was good for me to check out the con early because I got to sort of get a lay of the land and see where things had moved over the year. So when I was asked later, I could tell them accurately, okay, the slushy machine's over here, the TMNT guys over here, Rancors are over there. So that helped.
What did you think about having the celebrities in a room? Because I thought that was a fantastic move. Because when there's no crowds, then they're just a big giant waste of fucking space. Yeah. But when the crowds are there, it's like, holy fuck, man. It's ridiculous, right? It's like waves of people. I feel like having them in a separate room probably dealt with a lot of those issues.
It definitely did. The layout this year was probably the best it's ever been. And that's, from my opinion, that's volunteers, that's attendees, and that's also guests as well. I don't think I've heard a single overall problem with that room. I've heard a couple complaints about the way it was laid out to get to that room, which it's their first time. I understand there was a bit of an issue where there's issues with getting to a Q&A. It was right next door, but you kind of had to go out through the con to get to it. I got a feeling it's going to be worked out for next year. But yeah, overall, it was great. It was such a nice layout. It was nice to get away. It honestly felt very different. I felt like I wasn't really at a con because I didn't have that hustle and bustle and noise all the time. There was points where it really did get quiet later in the day. And usually when later in the day, some celebrities will leave early and the fan base sort of drops off. But like it got quiet after a while. And it was kind of nice to not have the strobe effect of like stuff always happening in your face.
Yeah, I did hear that comment made a couple times throughout the day on Saturday. People would come out of the main con floor and be like, it's strangely quiet in there.
Yeah.
There's no music. There's no cheering. There's no, like, it's like, yeah, it's like an ant farm, right? Like there's nothing really. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. I think Niagara Comic Con, you guys need a banging booth like the Geeks Co to, bring the party to your damn convention. You've met a lot of celebrities over the years. Was there anybody cool this year that was new or that you had never met or that you were really looking forward to meet? Or did you even get to meet any of these celebrities other than Mr. Chris Jericho, who you worked, I guess, the whole weekend with?
Saturday. He was there all day Saturday.
Oh, just Saturday.
Yep. He came in around 1:00 and I was working his line. Usually I get thrown on a lot of the popular guys because Chevy Chase was also the big headliner. He sort of had his own group of volunteers that they just stuck with his line all weekend. It was amazing.
He was also closed off. Like you couldn't even see him.
Yeah.
He was in a separate room, which I thought was a little weird, but
some of the high priority ones they do put behind a curtain, mostly because if they don't, they'll get a lot of people standing around the outskirts trying to take photos, and some celebrities don't like that. It also makes a big problem if we need that room to get other attendees through. So it's happened on a couple occasions. From all I'd heard, Chevy was great. I never actually got a chance to meet him. He came by me a couple times when I was in one of the other rooms, but never actually got to meet the man, which sucks because I'm a big National Lampoon's fan. But yeah, working with Chris Jericho was great. He was so sweet. He was so nice. Who else? I met Robert Patrick, which was amazing. I've been a T2 fan since I was the first time I saw it. I'm also a Reacher fan and Peacemaker. And I got the chance to walk up to him and say, I'm so glad you're a villain that I love to see die. Because there are so many villains that you sort of get behind them and like, I understand, like, no, you're just a piece of crap and I want you dead in every movie. And that's exactly how you should be as a villain. So he got a chuckle with that. And just everybody seemed to be in a great mood. Every celebrity I met Doug Gilmour. I'm a Bruin, but I got to meet Doug Gilmour, which was hilarious. But yeah, everyone was in a great mood. Everybody was great. Chris was in a great mood, even though he was just here for a few minutes. And yeah, it was a really, really good time.
You talked about the layout quickly. I did notice, and I don't know if anybody else noticed this and if it was weird for anybody else, but I instinctively want to start in the community area. Well, I guess you kind of have to because the doors. I thought that was weird too, right? They were making you go in through one door and out through the other one. You couldn't.
Some signage about that.
Yeah,
like
you couldn't
the
get
entrance and
in
exit
through
would have
the
been
exit.
better.
Yeah, I tried to get in at one point. They no, you got to go to the other door. It's like, oh, fuck,
Yeah.
got to go walk all the way right
I
back down
think
the
it was
hall.
on Sunday. One of the security guys at the exit finally, on like a piece of cardboard, had taken a Sharpie and just written exit, and he was just kind of holding it there the whole time, so he wouldn't have to keep telling people it was an exit only. So,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought that was a little bit weird. And then they drive you through the community area first, and the community area rows are like this, but the rest of the con, the rows are like this. And it's like, so you go through the community area, and then you're like, oh, well, wait, like these rows don't make sense anymore, right? Then you got to go back. It was just a weird. I thought that was a little bit weird. I did think the community area was actually quite large, although it was all fucking Star Wars.
Yeah, it was very heavily Star Wars. They also included a gaming section just outside the autograph area, which I believe they had a couple different tournaments. That's the first time I think they've ever done that. And every time I went over there was people. So I'm like, all right, that counts as a success in my book. But yeah, the TMNT guys were walking around. They always
Cool.
We have a running joke as volunteers. There's a volunteer that we love who's been doing it longer than I have, and about 4 or 5 years ago, we got a shot of him, the TMNT guys, kicking the crap out of him. And now every time we see them, they're like, he's over there, and they go hunting him for the whole weekend. So
the Buffalo's Best Turtles is who they are, and those dudes are fantastic. They used to be, I don't know if they still do, they used to be big into wrestling. I used to work with the guys from Droids Canada, and we would like challenge them for the belt and stuff, and I would have Negan and I'm trying to hit them with the bat, and we're beating the shit out of each other, and someone's crowned the champion or whatever. So yeah, those guys are pretty much up for anything, and they kill it every time they come up. This year they had the new heads, they had the new big samurai heads from the third movie. So yeah, no, those guys are fantastic.
I saw the pictures. They did that on Sunday, I guess, right?
Yeah.
The
really good
22 style.
3. I think it was the 3.
Or 3?
I think it was the third movie. Yeah. They go back in time or whatever.
When the one that go back in time. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I only saw the pictures. I didn't get to see those in person. I saw the ones that they did that are more like the new cartoon style ones that they did, which are also pretty cool. Like I thought that was dope.
But they are in character and spot on with how they joke and everything.
They're fantastic.
Yeah. What did you guys think about the layout and the con itself? I mean, did you guys have a good time this weekend? Did you buy anything? Was there anything cool that you got to see, or like? This is your chance. We've been on for an hour, guys, by the way, so we're going to be logging off very shortly. So this is your chance.
I would say the aisleways were probably the best ratio that I could think of. I never really got stuck in a place or
nice
anything.
Big aisles.
It was never shoulder to shoulder.
Nice big aisles.
Yeah. So bravo to them for that one.
Yeah, I'd have
Don't
to
all
say
talk at
where
once.
we were placed.
No, go ahead, Linda.
The Mahal was an improvement, I think, which I wasn't sure of at first, but I always give everything a chance. And again, the celebrity room, and like you talked about, and so on, I just think it was very good.
Next.
I agree. I got one little thing, and it was these little like handmade creatures, and they were so fluffy. I forget what they're called, Ravenwood or Rendlewood. Oh, Rendlewood. It was like they're Niagara based, and they're all handmade little creatures, and they were so
Nice.
It's the only thing I bought.
Yeah, I don't think I bought. Oh, I picked up a couple Miles Morales Spider-Man books. And crocodile jerky. That's pretty much the only things I bought.
Crocodile jerky. Interesting. Is this that same jerky booth that was at London?
No.
It's a similar one.
Similar in vibe, but not the same.
Different guys. Oh, because the one that was in London last year, wow, that was...
Yeah, not quite the same variety at this one.
Yeah.
Especially, like, besides the exotics, when it came to, like, the little pepperettes, they had mild, hot, and sriracha, and that was all the flavors they had in the pepperettes. So I was like, all right. So I grabbed some of those. I also,
Oh yeah, the sriracha were really good. Somebody gave
they were
me
okay.
a couple of sriracha pepperettes,
Yep.
and I was like, "Oh, you got to take that bag away, or I'll just eat them all."
I've still got those. And what else did I buy? Oh yeah, a shit ton of beer, unfortunately. So because at $11 a tall can, my bank account took an absolute shit kicking throughout. Because again, we've talked about it before. The whole place is licensed, right? So it's not like we're at the booth and I'm behind a curtain sneaking one, or like having to go afterwards, or having to go outside.
What do you mean behind the booth sneaking one? What are we talking about?
I don't know what you're talking about. Did I say that out loud?
No idea what.
You have
the
no
hell
proof. You
about.
can't see my lips moving. I didn't say that at all.
No. I'll edit it out later.
We go live. How are you going to edit it out? Yeah. Other than that, it kind of like what we talked about before is unfortunately it's one of those cons where it's a shopping con. Is really what that con is. Like moving the celebs out of that area was good, and having them in their own separate area. So you knew if you wanted to get an autograph or a photo or whatever, you had to go into that separate room. But all that really did was leave more space to put in more vendors, which I get. The vendors are what pays for the money along with the tickets to make the con happen. And they did at least keep the comic creators on the main floor, on that main side. So you had your Azal, you had your Great Capullos, you had all those guys that were still there too. But as far as, if you were looking to do some shot, if you wanted a lightsaber or you wanted like a faux weapon for cosplay, boy, howdy, were you in luck, because holy shit, was there ever a lot of those booths over and over and over again. But yeah, I mean, all I bought was meat and beer because, it's me. That's all I did. Oh, did you get a thing?
I bought me.
You?
Yeah, you can't.
You who?
Can you guys see him? Can't see him up there.
Well, you can see your face.
He's a predator statue. It's me.
Well, don't get it and show us. Just point at it from afar.
All right.
Jesus Christ. It's hosting a podcast. Hey, can you guys see this? No, we can't. Okay, well, it's there, I promise.
Friggin' guy. So I bought me.
Nice.
You know, the sculpt is actually pretty good. The paint job is pretty shitty, which is why he wasn't very expensive. But you know, that's fine. I'm just gonna repaint him myself. I'm gonna make him look cool.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
But yeah, I've been going to a lot of cons, and I'm always on the lookout for a Scar or a Wolf. I mean, technically my armor is Scar, so you know, but my helmet is Wolf. So I'm usually looking for one of the two statues, action figures, and you can never find them. Nowhere, because they're the popular ones, right? So anytime they come out with a Scar,
it's because it's you. People are like, "Hey, isn't that the JS?" And then they buy it as a collector's item because they know it's going to increase in value. I want to give a special shout out, by the way, to our boy Sam Sino Photo that's in the chat right now. He did a mock-up for one of my cosplays. He's doing the leather work for one of my cosplays, and I've commissioned to do that. And so he had this whole foam tape rigged thing that I put on in behind Lindy's booth. Lindy had her big banner up there, so we kind of hid behind that, and we spent 15 or 20 minutes just trying all this stuff on, and he was measuring and cutting and making sure everything fit and everything else. So Sam, thanks man for not only taking this project on, but then meeting me at this con. He's in the Niagara region and shaping up and making sure that it's going to be ready for Fan Expo. So yeah, no, I think we're on track. I think we're all going to be good. So yeah, that will definitely be coming out for FanX. So that'll be good.
Natasha
peanut butter
here
whiskey
saying,
is the best pickup for your convention, says Alex. I agree. Peanut butter whiskey is the best pickup, regardless. It's all good.
Peanut butter whiskey. What the fuck is peanut butter whiskey?
Screwball. You never had Screwball before?
Oh, peanut butter whiskey. No,
oh, brother, Screwball is amazing.
Who was selling that at the con?
Well, I don't know if you'd sell it. You just put it in your handy flask that you got from Red Moon Glassworks, like I did, which I would show you on camera, but I can't because every time I turn my camera on, everybody starts to laugh.
Natasha's saying Deadly Grounds coffee is a must-have for me when I go to
Crystal more than anybody.
Deadly Grounds. I mean, their coffee is ridiculous, guys. If you've never had Deadly Grounds coffee, they're right here in Curtis. They're fantastic. I actually just got a gift certificate, so I'm going to be going to buy some coffee tomorrow. But they're usually at all the big cons as well, right? They're at Toronto Comic Con, Fan Expo, Niagara Falls. They don't do London, I don't think. But they do a lot of the GTA, the closer to the GTA. I mean, they are in Curtis, right? So like me, it gets a little far for them to get out that far, but yeah. Jeff.
Yes.
Mr. Yes, well, you are the voice from the void. Any parting words before we close this episode off?
I want to just piggyback off what Linda was saying earlier. Like, I know we probably said some I don't know if I say unkind things, but we aired out some grievances about the con. But at the end of the day, it's a fantastic con to attend.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good time. You know what I'm saying? The layout was definitely better this year. You're in Niagara Falls, and we get to see all of our cool peeps. Like everybody that you see here was all there and all of them were there in different capacities. That's why we had them all on today. Mike was working. Pretty Nerdy Crystal was helping out with the cosplay. Ale Got in Hugs was just like hanging out and then did the bomb run with us. And then Linda was one of the sponsors and one of the vendors. So everybody, I think, every time I saw any of you, you guys were smiling and laughing and having a good time for the most part, right? No, I didn't see any tears. I didn't see anybody getting choked out. Well, I was a little bit drunk, but that's not the point. Not everybody was as drunk as we were. But I mean, for the most part, it looked like everybody was having a solid, good time. So that's, I think, what the takeaway is. And all we're trying to really do at the end of the day is just tweak it just to make it that much better an experience for everybody. That's all the goal is, to have these conversations, to get all these different viewpoints from people on what they did right and what we can do better in the future. And then, like we've talked about, just pass that along to Niagara Falls Comic Con in whatever way is good. If you're not going to get the form in your email, and maybe you don't, they're making 100 posts a week on their social media. Just go make a comment on some of their posts, especially if it's relevant to whatever we're talking about. Like they just made one today that, how did you like the layout this year? Cool. This was great. This could be better. Boom. Just let them know one way or another. And hopefully this conversation that we had today with these 4 wonderful people helped you fine tune whatever your issues or things that you liked what the con were.
Maybe we'll crash it again next year.
Oh, we're definitely crashing it again this year. There's no question. Since they won't have us as a guest. Anyways.
Guys, again, big thanks to everybody here. Guys, you are all amazing. Thank you very, very much for coming on. Lindy Cosplay Supplies, go check out her Facebook page if you want to order yourselves anything from foam, barge contact cement, contact lenses, Warbler, you name it. Go check out our Facebook page. Thank you again, Linda. Really appreciate you coming on. Pretty Nerdy Crystal, is that where they typically would just find you on Instagram? Is that your kind of your main spot? I guess everybody else Instagram is kind of their main spots. Pretty Nerdy Crystal at Myers Corp Cosplay at illgottenhugs.cosplay.
Crystal, are you actively taking commissions now too?
Technically.
Oh, I thought you had stopped.
I'm working on a friend's. She's coming up for fan expo from the States, so I have to have that finished in time, and it's very large. So
okay, so you're not currently taking commissions through your commission account.
Not at the very moment, no.
Okay,
right. Well, guys, keep an eye on her Instagram, because when she does, you'll want to check it out. Because
I do post, yeah.
Yeah, some of the dresses dope as hell.
Thanks.
Anybody else have anything they want to pitch before they go?
Can I just mention one thing? Look up Crowfest. It's a costume contest that I do in September 21st. And if you can put together a costume between now and then, it'd be worth it. Cash prizes.
Crowfest is more of a, I don't know if a horror is the right term. It's like...
It's a crow theme. But that's only part of it. We also have a general category.
Well, there you go.
Some asshole hosted. I don't remember who that is, but some loudmouth idiot hosts it.
Oh, then we're not going. We're done.
It's a great time. Crowfest is a great time.
Where's Crowfest happening? Where and when?
Chatham, Ontario. And it's September 21st. Right downtown King Street.
And that's a Saturday, I'm assuming?
Well, the contest. No, look up Crowfest, CK, Crowfest CK, Chatham, Kent. And it's on for like 3 or 4 days for sure. There are vendors and what do you call those, buskers and such like that from all over the world.
Live music, food. Expanded. Yeah, it's like pretty much all of downtown Chatham gets blocked off for Crowfest, and then we have a big contest for
and a costume contest from 1 to 4.
Costume contest. Yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah, from 1 till 4.
Yep.
Awesome.
Make sure you tune in for that. And for those of my friends that are local, Forest City Comic Con is this weekend, where Lindy is also going to be there. In fact, we're going to be side by side. I'm there as a guest and a judge, so the cosplay registration table is right beside where Lindy Cosplay Supplies Repair is. So that is this Sunday at Centennial Hall, downtown London. be there and or be square. It is a small con, guys, so don't be driving in from 3.5 hours to go see this con. It is just a wee one, but it is a lot of fun. We have a great time doing it, and your boy's going to be going out as Boromir this weekend. Since I'm going to be a cosplay judge, I figure I should have at least a decent cosplay to bring with me and not just some spandex suit. But yeah,
if you're interested in winning a cosplay contest this weekend, folks, so it's time to start second up.
Yeah, butter me up, kids. I am highly bribable. Okay. And I work cheap, so.
You sure are cheap. Guys, I think that's going to be it for this week. Make sure you click that like and subscribe button. It really, really helps us out here, folks. And if you click the notification bell, it'll always let you know anytime we go live or we upload a video. But that's going to be it for now. Make sure you stay geeky, everybody. We're going to see you next week. I don't know yet what we're doing. What are we doing next week, Jeff? Do you know what we're doing next week?
I am a voice.
You have no clue,
in the darkness.
We'll figure something out.
I am dead.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Geek Boutique podcast. Like always, if you prefer to listen to us, you can find us on all major podcast platforms. Now, make sure you don't forget to click that like and subscribe button, as well as the notification bell to make sure you never miss anything.